It wasn't until I was halfway done with my glass of water that I sensed the thing in the kitchenette with me. Goose flesh broke out up my arms and my nape tightened as the hairs stood to attention. But this wasn't the first time I'd sensed the presence, so I continued to sip my water, acutely aware of the shadow in the corner of the room. It stood perfectly still, blending into the pockets of darkness around it, but my primal instincts recognized it as other, as not belonging. "I know you're there." My voice was a whisper when I wanted it to be strong and sure. "Who are you? What do you want?" The shadow shifted and my stomach clenched in apprehension. "Who are you talking to?" Bastian padded into the room and the presence dissipated. He wrapped his arms around me from behind and rested his chin on my head. "Hey." "The shadow." "The ghost?" "It was here. I know Sark said that Dad moved on, but what if—" I didn't want to finish the sentence. To contemplate that my father could be stuck here. Bastian hugged me tighter. "This ghost could be anyone. This place, the death, you're more receptive than most, and it's probably just lonely." Which was exactly what Shem had said too, after he'd torn the room apart searching for the ghost as if it was a spider he could squish. "Come back to bed," Bastian said. I set my glass down and turned in his arms. "Which bed?" His chest rumbled in a chuckle. "As much as I'd like to steal you away, Shem has his limits." I lifted my chin, offering him my lips. "Communal bed it is, then." He pressed his lips to mine briefly, sighing softly as he pulled away. "Sharing isn't easy." I pushed up on my toes and kissed him again. "Tomorrow night." "Tomorrow." Over the past 7 days, we'd alternated where I slept. One night with Bastian, the other with Shem, and then a night with everyone in the room. Tomorrow was my solo time with Bastian. As Bastian led me out of the room, I couldn't help but glance back at the spot between the counter and the fridge where my ghostly stalker had stood moments ago. The shadows were now innocuous and flat. Whatever had been in this room with me was gone. Shem was awake when I returned to our room, the others fast asleep on the floor around our mattress. It had been easier to remove the bed frame from the room instead of moving it around every other day. Sark snored softly, but Tumiel and Zack slept soundlessly. Bastian hovered by the door as I climbed over the watchers' sleeping bodies to the main bed. Shem's eye whites gleamed where they caught the light trickling in from the hallway, giving him an almost eerie look. Heck, if I wasn't so familiar with him, I'd have been spooked. But the crimson-skinned watcher, with his feral features and talon-tipped horns, was nothing less than beauty to me now. I loved the sensation of his silken chestnut hair running through my fingers, and the scrape of his fangs against my throat. His body was familiar. It was mine, just as Bastian's was, and I'd accepted there was no shame in wanting, in needing them both.